Okay. You know, Warren, we left off in the last break talking about taxes, and your role in this tax debate has become very central and very polarizing. And just last week, Governor Christie of New Jersey weighed in on this and weighed in on what you've been saying. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Warren Buffett keeps screaming to be taxed more.
Yeah, well, he should just write a check and shut up. Really, and just contribute, okay? I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is that I'm tired of hearing about it. If he wants to give the government more money, he's got the ability to write a check. Go ahead and write it.
He's not the only person who feels that way.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of viewer email that came in. We've been sitting down and doing this Ask Warren session here for, I guess, the last 4 years or so. And this year, more than any other year, there were a lot of emails that came in that similarly echoed what Christie had to say.
Well, I hope they're a little more eloquent than that. But you know, it's sort of a touching response to a $1.2 trillion deficit, isn't it? That somehow the American people will just all send in checks and take care of it. That was first fellow to come up with that was Senator McConnell, and I really. It's sort of astounding to me that somebody that has the responsibility for being the minority leader in the Senate would think that you attack a $1.2 trillion or so deficit by asking for voluntary contributions. Since he did, I offered to triple his, but that's a sideshow. The real problem we have is we're taking in too little money and we're spending too much, and that's not going to be solved by voluntary contributions. What we need is a policy, a tax policy, and to give you an idea of how extreme it is, just take a look at what I've labeled A1, and you can find this on the internet. And the figures I've circled in 1992 showed that the 400 largest incomes in the United States that year, adjusted gross incomes, were $18 billion. Now that's about $45 million a person. And if you go down to 2008, it's $108 billion. That's $270 million a person. So from 1992, the 400 top incomes went from $45 million to $270 million, which is not bad, I think. Now, if you go over to A2, you will see that during the same period, those top 400 saw their tax rates drop from 26.3% to 18.1%. At the same time that was happening. But what's even more startling is if you go to A3, and you will see that in 1992, 6 people among those 400 paid at a rate that was less than 10%. That's just 2/3 of what the average person pays on payroll taxes. And that 6 went up to 30 over that period, and the number paying from 10 to 15 went from 10 to 101. So 131 of the 400 largest incomes, averaging $270 million each, 131 out of 400 were paying at a 15% rate or below. And that, the payroll tax for people making less than 100,000 up until this year was 15.3%. They were paying. So solving the problem of me paying the low tax rate I pay is not going to solve the fiscal problems of the United States. But to ask other people to be making sacrifices during this period, and we're going to ask them to make sacrifices. We're going to ask them to make it on the revenue side and on the expenditure side. And to leave this group alone is a travesty.
So to Joe's point, you can't fix the deficit by just going after.
No, you can't fix the deficit by going after any one expenditure.